This is a place where we actually store the embryos.
Inside these tanks, frozen in liquid nitrogen, sit eggs that have been fertilized by sperm. Technically, they're a bunch of cells, but they have the potential of becoming a person.
So this is thousands of embryos?
Yeah, each one of these may have several thousand embryos inside them.
After undergoing in vitro fertilization, or IVF, couples usually have embryos left over. They have to decide whether to destroy them, donate them to research, or pay for cold storage. But after 40 years of IVF procedures,
There are a lot of embryos out there that just don't have anyone to claim them.
some of the embryos at this clinic are more than 20 years old, and they'll never expire. But when storage payments end, things get tricky. Unclaimed embryos in the UK can be discarded after 5 years. In Canada, there are no regulations.
We have a real ethical issue here that we have to decide, what do we do with those embryos that people have essentially abandoned, you know? And right now we're grappling with that.
We tried for the first time and both worked.
When faced with the decision to store, destroy, or donate, Tracy Michalak did something quite rare. After having twin girls, she and her husband donated their unused embryos anonymously to another couple.
I remember how hard it was and how desperately you wanted that family.
She was told the couple gave birth to a baby boy last fall.
I just sort of feel like I've got, a genetic, part of me out there. It's not my kid, it's their kid. I don't actually feel like any personal connection to this kid. I know it's biologically half me, but no, I just feel like there's a family out there we help complete.
A family like the O'Connors.
Run, I'm gonna get you.
After struggling for several years to have a baby, the O'Connors went to the U.S. in search of donated embryos. They hope to meet the biological parents of their 3 children someday.
You're giving your kids to someone else to raise, and you don't know where they are or what's happening to them, and that can be a little frightening. So the people who do it are very, very brave, and I'm just so grateful for them.
O'Connor was shocked to learn thousands of abandoned embryos are now sitting in storage tanks across the country. While it's a complex decision, she hopes some couples will at least consider the possibilities. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, beyond that, there is the option of surrogacy, but finding a woman willing to carry someone else's baby is only one hurdle. In Canada, there are also big legal ones. Cameron McIntosh has been looking at that.
I like the old school names.
All parents-to-be go through it, mulling over names.
The one that we always come back to is Bet.
Facing.
Figuring out the car seat.
There's got to be a button.
For Regina couple Corey Beaujeau and Joey Tremblay, there are also these calls.
Hi.
One province east to Winnipeg, where Christine English is carrying their baby.
How is the fetus behaving this weekend?
Kicking around lots like usual. I feel great about it. It just means that I've helped build this family.
Under Canadian law, her expenses can be covered, but she can't be paid.
If we bought her flowers, that would be against the law.
What actually qualifies as an expense is vague, so along with the pregnancy comes a strict contract. A legal journey none of them quite expected.
It would help the process better if it wasn't tied up with a lot of minutia.
In Canada, only 2% of IVF procedures are to gestational surrogates, women carrying babies that aren't their own. However, advocates say demand is much higher, and that Canadian law is preventing people from having families.
Could you imagine finding out that you couldn't become a parent?
Leah Swanberg is a 2-time surrogate, now fertility consultant, who paid $60,000 in fines for matching couples and surrogates. She says uncertainty over compensation is causing a chill.
Not as many surrogates are coming forward to meet the need because they are also unsure as to how they can participate safely.
Liberal MP Anthony Housefather has a private member's bill that would decriminalize payment for surrogacy under a regulated system.
The real goal here is to say wanting to have a child in Canada should not be criminal.
That would include legalizing paying for eggs and sperm. As for creating a for-profit reproductive industry, this fertility law expert says regulations could keep that in check.
I can't see a woman wanting to carry a child for 9 months, honestly, to make money.
I can see that there needs to be regulation, but at the same time, not a deterrent.
Meanwhile, the baby room needs to get done.
We've got our eye on a crib. We want to get a decent rocker for in here.
Next up, a trip to Winnipeg to go check in.
So you have to imagine the surrogates are pretty special women.
It's not always going to be simple, but in the end, it's an amazing experience because you're giving a baby to a family.
The baby is due in October. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.